Okay. All right. Good morning, folks. I realized that I forgot a couple things. And I know I was late by a little bit. Why? Why is it not doing? Okay. So, how are people doing? We're starting off here. Let me just get a few things ready. So, folks, what I have. Interesting. Okay. What I have for you today is remember that last time we made a name for the whole language. KhyisfafÀ, right? Today, I thought we would go ahead and name the individual dialects. We'll go over what those are called in a minute. And we need to actually I don't know why it does that. Let's actually show you guys what we had before. I don't know why. Seems like my mouse tends to not respond to my clicks sometimes. Might need a new one sometime soon. So, we made this word, Khyisfaforszá, right? And it's sort of a weird thing. It's what we have that happened is this phrase, Khyisfaforszá, and then the equivalent in Dus, which I think would be like Khyisfaforszá, the language of the Fae, right, got contracted down, and then this, which the E or U, got reinterpreted as a class marker for the decomposer class. So it's a little bit of a weird word, but it still works. Okay, we had stuff started. Okay, so we were thinking about doing a couple of things that I have changed since then. Okay, so this idea, I'm not going with. First of all, I went and this is not even the one that I'm going with. I was concerned that this word that we had, Khyisfaforszá, was a little bit too close to Khyisfaforszá, right? And it could easily be confused. So I actually went a completely different direction with that. And let me obsidian that. What I did was I coined a new root in Elder Sylvan, if I can find the correct one. I actually used one of the ones that we rejected for I think language, is bell, which means stage or step. And then when that goes to Middle Sylvan, what's that? Okay. So it goes, we have two in Middle Sylvan. It's Bill, which is again stage or step, which also goes all the way to B and B for dusk and dawn. And we have Bilprzn with the, and I will talk a little bit about something with that too. The Bilprzn is with the celestial class, which we developed, means lunar phase. Stage step with celestial means phase of the moon, right? And since we will be using lunar phases, that is going to relate to our thing. And then that becomes, let's see. Yeah, we have Bilpja in dusk and Bilpje bilche in dawn with that same meaning, right? What is there? Did I add a predator class? Oh, and then with the predator class, also, this means a fairy court. Okay? Because they are also, yeah, so Bilja, and Bilge. But I also, this, after the Middle Sylvan stage, was gained the, and actually it's important that it happened after the Middle Sylvan stage, because otherwise it would have had an irregular E and E alternation. It does not have this alternation because they took the B and they added the class after the fact. Added the decomposer class to make this word biu, or in dusk it's bijou. I have altered the sound changes in dusk a little bit. We get and then collectively you will use a plural bila. Usually you will use the plural from dawn, bila. So that is our equivalent to Fangyan or Prakrit as our internal word for the different language varieties that are could call dialects. It's not entirely clear how close they are. That sort of thing, right? I can't really do mutual intelligibility testing because I'm not in Fairy right now. So that's our word. But following from my concern, so we have our word. It's biu or biu for quote unquote dialect, right? This I'm also not going to we're still going to have waxing moon and waning moon, right? But I did this off stream because I wanted to, it was a little bit tricky to get everything sorted out for it. But I didn't like the idea of everything starts with the Khy. This might be hard for people to keep track. So I engineered a root that will be different in all four of the bila. So the elderfey root is Khyisfafmě. Khyisfafmě. And all of this is important. Middle fey, we get Khyisfafmě. Khyisfafmě, right? Hi, Tinglish. I'm just explaining. I did some work. I'm coming up with. I have come up with. This is off stream. a new word that's going to form the base of my 4 dialects. Now, why do I have this form? So, this will become labelized KhyisfafŒ. And we have our split between that becoming P or K, which leads to, the first thing in day, and dawn, we have P. We also have the high tone coming from the devoicing here. The devoicing spreads to the E and then causes a high tone. It causes a low tone in dusk. And we have dusk has ch. Night has tr. So, trick. And tr. And then the second syllable of it, we have elder phase becomes ka. It's difficult for me to distinguish that from an adjective, but it's a quick ka. It's a uvular stop glottalized. And that has very different forms. In day, we have a glottal stop, so we end up with pie. In dawn, I did not know that I could get this in dawn, but apparently dawn you can get an adjective fricative. You can get an adjective ch. So we get pich. And then dusk, we get trick. Now, when we get combining with other things, maybe that there will be an that surfaces here, but on its own, it's trick. And then when you go in through the forms, this is in decomposer class because it'll mean something related to speech. We'll have tricky, tricka, tricka, trickava, trick. Oh, that's nice. Trickava. That's nice. And then night, the more conservative one, still has an adjective ka. Tricka. And an interesting thing, night still has deletion of voiceless vowels. So we get shka, 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 shka. So we end up with a cluster here, and I had to adjust some rules to make that cluster work. It would originally have been an affricate here, but I felt like an affricate was difficult. It's a little difficult, so I said, okay, when you get any stop or affricate before a stop, then it softens to a fricative. So, and yes, I will do romanizers for day and night eventually and get that sorted. So, what does all this mean for this word? I'll put it up with middle fay because it'll mean that this word will mean something like let's say it means speech. Speech, and by extension, dialect, accent, way of speaking. And this is the word, because remember, we have head initial compounds. This is the word that we will combine with other things in order to come up with our names for all of our modern varieties here. Sort of like, it's sort of like, now in English you have like all kinds of different suffixes for languages that are just like demographic suffixes. But like, I'm thinking like, what made me think that this works is actually Chinese. You've got a number of different things that mean different language things that can be a suffix for a language. So you've got yu. Most common is just yu and hua. You can also have wen, which appears in Zhongwen, but it's sort of like biased toward talking about written language. But yu means language, hua means speech. And I think that works out well. I don't think that the word for tongue in Chinese can be used. But anyway. So this is our base. And another change that I'm thinking to make here. And if people want to pipe up, I'm not exactly happy with what I did with giving the moon 2 different class suffixes and doing this weird thing of having, okay, it has one class and then the celestial classes on top of it, because I feel like it's going to make words too long. So let's actually go back to the drawing board on that. We'll open up our sound change applier. We'll, I guess we'll put middle fay here. And dawn and dusk here. And we will see, don't worry about this stuff I was working on. And we'll just see, let's go back to the elderfay root. One thing you might notice as you see my stuff is I've combined the fairy languages and the reptilian languages into one obsidian, because I felt like, okay, these are all part of the same world. There's loan words between them. It's probably best to just put them all together in one dictionary. And by the way, Ndakaga has how many? We now have 520 words. Which is decent. Need to do some more translations, get that up to 1,000. But let's see, what was the root for moon? I think it's Ngupa. right? So we go to our inflection work, and if we just plug that in and make it just, and go celestial, just directly add the celestial markings to it, then we get okay. Ngupapshin is ngupapshin, ngupapinich, or ngupapinath. And then we will go and apply and see what those look like in dawn and dusk. And so we get Wolfopja, and Wolfopja, which I feel like is good enough. I think that is better. And do I actually need to? Yes, I actually did have. I think if we, so we can just delete this part. Yeah, especially since I decided to use the long accusative. It was just too long. So we will do that. Did I not? Okay, there it is. And it for this is actually with an okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, let me make sure I have that. Let me make sure I have that right. Okay. Wolf war. No, it would be. That should be good enough. Now, we need to finally go through and create these words for these 4 dialects. And now we're going to have to coin some stuff. So, okay. It's plus the word for moon, which we don't. We have. Excuse me, I'm being annoying. But then we could figure out what exactly we mean by full moon here. The day dialect could be different. Could be right. But regardless, this one is going to be, and we'll just go ahead and actually put the word for moon. We'll go. We're going to do dawn and dusk first. This should not be. What's this? Is it actually that? No, this is actually should be with the again. And this will be reduced to roots. Now, the waning for dawn and waxing for dusk. And I am going to be right back. All right. So, we need words for waning and waxing. And I need to drink some tea. And what I'm going to do is, see, with waning and waxing. So, the first thing I want to do with that is we're going to go with, let's quickly check clicks. I don't think we're going to find anything with clicks, but oh. But it's worth a check. So if we will go with waning, yep, wax. This is all. Oh goodness, they don't have just wax. They have earwax, beeswax, wax gourd. Interesting. So yeah, because waning and waxing are such weird words, I didn't really expect to find them in clicks, but I just wanted to check. We could go. Although I almost never use this, but it might be Control F. Let's look under moon. The words for sun and moon interchange historically only in languages of North America. That's something I'm familiar with. Ho-Chunk does that. I think moon is like night sun or something like that. I'd have to look it up to know like which way it goes. But sun and moon have the same root. But we don't have anything about phases of the moon. So, we go to Wiktionary. That's weird. What happened there? Okay, Wiktionary. Waning. Waning. So, from Middle English, waninga, an alteration of earlier wanyed, wanyende. Old English, wanyende. Okay, so all the way back to Proto-Germanic, it just meant to wane, right? That's interesting. So I'm looking specifically for the lunar phase. And décroissant. That's interesting. That Latin is going to be the root of the French, I'm assuming. What's Norman? Okay, so let's take a look at these. Okay, minvar. So decrease, diminish, dwindle. Décroissant is descending, waning of the moon. Okay, so they have croissant and décroissant. This is from décroissant. Okay. So they have. Yeah. They have basically it's like increase and decrease, right? It's derived. Okay. Proto-Germanic off take to decrease to diminish of the moon to wane. So this is German. Abonnement. It's interesting that they did not keep wane, but English did. That's curious. Okay. Thai. Does Thai have an etymology? Doesn't have an etymology. It's just rain. Interesting. So according to this, Thai's word is specific to the moon. Menguarante, decreasing. So what's menguar? Menguar. Oh, it's just makes it's just smallify, right? That mean element is in there. Chiat. That's weird. So shooting star and waning moon is from the same place? And it's present participle of cheer, which is not. What is norm? That's not Norman French, is it? Chillon? It shouldn't be spelled like that if it's Norman French, should it? Oh no. Now let's go to waxing. Let's so wrong. We're going specifically. Waxing. Okay. That's okay. So this is this waxing kernel stuff. This sense of wax to me is very much tied to the moon. Let's actually see if it says process of growing, right? Wax. So, wax. So, Catalan crecer. Oh, now we have the Chinese. Ying. To fill. Okay, interesting. To be full. So it's like filling up in Chinese. That's another thought. I was just thinking growing. Vasen. That's probably just what? From Proto-Indo-European wed. Okay. So Dutch Vasen is from there. Finnish Khyisfaf<hesitation>. That's definitely going to be different. Proto-Finnish Khyisfaf¥ cognates with Estonian Khyisfaf¥. But what does Khyisfaf¥ mean? Possibly an ancient loan from Proto-European Khyisfaf¥ from Khyisfaf¥ to grow. Okay. Okay, so it's the Finnish one is it's not exactly certain where it came from. However, it can mean to grow or to increase, right? Now, the ones. So the what I'm going to say here, I think yes. Growing is what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not going to do what Romance does and have like grow and ungrow, right? They have the crecer and decrecer, that kind of thing, right? That or I mean, like Spanish does a different thing. Spanish is maybe more like what I'm going through. I don't want these two terms to be related because I want another point where we will have a difference. So for waning, I'm actually thinking I would get a verb that means withering. And then, since this is a language, we're referring to a language, this is going to be decomposer class. Because it's a symbiont. Decomposers also include remember, decomposers also include parasites and dependent symbionts, which, like mental structures, I consider to be symbionts. So that's where I'm going with that. Why don't we make those words? Everybody ready to make some words? Well, we got two people here. Let's see. Let me see. Do I have the right? This is the Sylvan one. I should put a comment on my thing that says Sylvan or says Khyisfaf¥ versus Decaga, so I know which one I have open. But let's go with the well, let's kind of get both of them. So we want to get two that are very different. And ignore this. I don't know why I have that up there. So, we've done our Pui, Pipi, Fufi. Fufi looks nice. Tipu, Tipu, Titu, B, B, Hoppy. This actually is good. I think I want Hoppy and B. Because, so, oh, what? No, I don't want that. It's silliness. Right, so what I want is these. B. No, let's clash. Let's not do B. Let's go with Foofy. 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 And what does these turn into in dusk? Fish. Fish and whip. Ooh, whip? How did that happen? Checking to see at what point. Oh, like it's fronted to hip, whip, whip, and then whip. Good, that's great. Okay. Huppy, huppy, hup, huppy, huppy, hup, huppy, 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 huppy. I'm sounding like a Swedish person. Huppy, 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 and fifi. So I think that what I'm going to do, I can definitely Fishy, Fishy, Fishy versus Fish. Let's see. So I like putting those adjectives in where I can. It's a nice signal that this is the dawn dialect. So let's close this and open up. So, yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so Let's actually, since these will also be extant verbs, let's go ahead and get their verb paradigms in. Well, pardon me. The verb paradigms are very, very big. Oh no, you doing this for me? Doing this stupid thing. This is not a thing on its own. I'm going to see what happens if I just add this to the consonants class. If that helps. Let's try that. Hey, what? Oh. Oh. I don't need that. I gotta remember, every time that happens, what I did wrong was that I didn't go all the way back to here and do it. So we want to get these. And then now I should be able to get it to work right. Oh, fish. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Happy fish. Happy. Okay. So. And now we're going to go ahead and get these into our dictionary. So actually what we need go all the way back. Sorry being so quiet right now, but why is it like that? Oh, okay. Apologies for the silence for a while. I'm just getting all of these forms documented. I don't need that quite yet. I need to put the dawn reflexes in. Where's dawn? Gosh, I need to lay this across all my screens. Oh, this is interesting. I need to actually go here. Fufi. Fufi is the root, and etymology is from Middle Fey. Fufi. It should be pronunciation should be this. Question I have for the chat, because I'm eventually going to do music, and I'm thinking, so the analog for this language in terms of how tones work is it's kind of like Norwegian. So a question for anybody out there who knows that, or even people listening after the fact that have knowledge of this. I think Swedish has a similar thing, like Norwegian or Swedish music. Do they take into account pitch accent in the music? Because I know, so in terms of tonal languages that I know that Mandarin does not care, right? Mandarin doesn't bother with that. You just either you obliterate the tones, or sometimes you can slightly hear the contour within the note, but you do not worry about the relative pitches in the music and how they work with the tones. But like if you only have level tones, maybe it would be easier to deal with that, and you would end up just going ahead and doing it. I don't know. It's like traditional Norwegian music. Do they take into account pitch accent? And I know that the pitch accent is different in different dialects, so it maybe not for that reason. Who knows? Let's go. Okay, where were we? Okay, we need the withering one in. We need to document the withering one in dawn, and then we go document the dusk forms, and then we're going to worry about putting these together. I have started to understand why it's good that all the other conlang streams have partners to work with, because like doing all of this like busy work while trying to be entertaining is not easy. Especially when it's a morning when I was up a little bit later and cannot focus well. Okay. I have to do this correctly. So, class 5, present indicative. Hyppig, 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 hyppig. I like this. I actually do like how this word sounds. Do I actually have to... hop, and I need the pronunciation from here. I need it. Hyppig. Hyppig. And oh, we've got some interesting forms coming here because we've got an irregular. Looks like there was a schwa reduction that led to an grade on some of these. Khyisfafຝ, Khyisfafործ, 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 Khyisfafործ. That shouldn't happen. I thought that I fixed that so that it would be Khyisfaf<hesitation>. Khyisfaf<hesitation>. I'm going to have to check and see if I have the right version of the sound changes, because I did change that. Where does the hyppig even come in? Yeah, the hyppig Khyisfafmě only occurs in the inanimate third person. That's wild. Inanimate third person. Every other form is hap. Hap. Okay, but yeah. So I'm wondering if actually if this is, it's rare that you would actually see. Yes. Okay, I'm actually going to make a decision here. Because let's Control F this. It occurs here. Where else does it occur? Okay, that's not. That's an ending. Within the actual. Yes. So within the actual root. Okay. Here's a note. Okay. This because this only occurs. So we have to remember what this means. This is a verb that means to grow. What am I typing? Grow or increase. Okay, so actually let me record this. Maybe I can turn this into something. Okay, so we had Khyisfafmě, but when I checked, it was only in the third person inanimate class subject that we get the actual I vowel. So this is a good point where you can apply what we call analogy. So this verb means to grow or to increase. You are going to see this in all of the other classes before you ever see this in inanimate. The things that grow, the things that this verb applies to are going to mostly be living things. They're going to be classes 1 through 4. That's autotroph, herbivore, predator, and decomposer, right? There are some inanimate things that grow, but it's going to be much lower frequency. The other thing is you will see this in the celestial class with the moon, because this is going to be the root that means waxing, or this is not grow or increase. No, I got this wrong. Okay, no, this is wither and decrease. But same kind of thing applies, right? Inanimate things are not. Okay, now I'm thinking we might get this preserved. Okay. We still are only seeing this with inanimate nouns only seeing this with an inanimate subject in the present indicative. So the question I have is, is that still rare enough? So wither and decrease is a little bit more common for you to see that for inanimates than for living things. But it is still, I think it's still the minority case. Even though they are immortal, they will see erosion happen. They will see like the stuff wither. I think living things, you know, they grow and die and wither away faster than inanimate things still. So I think that's still going to be dominant. So what I'm going to do for dawn is I'm going to say that this swapped, and it should still be low tone. If I can, it's a grave accent, George. Okay. It's swapped to Khyisfafmě instead of Khyisfafmě. Khyisfafmě on analogy because it's just so rare. So that changed the stem. And I will just I'll just it would be Euro Latin keyboard. Khyisfafmě. Khyisfafmě. This is a good reason you should look at your forums and see, like, if this is not working, then if you're seeing like the original stem only surface in one form and it's a form that's not going to be super frequent, you can say, okay, well, I mean, how are, I mean, these are Fae. They live a very long time if they're not immortal. But I'm still sort of assuming they follow the same basic principles of language evolution that humans do, maybe on a longer scale, or just they do it because they are like inherently natural, right? They're inherently attuned with nature in a way that makes them do it this way. But you have to think about, like, what you need to think about is, how do babies learn the language? Babies learn the language through input. If this hyp stem is extremely rare, and they always hear hyp, maybe they never hear hyp until they're like much older, then that hyp is they're just going to assume, based on all of the other forms, that the root is Khyisfafmě. So that's what you go with. Let me double check this one. This one is not a. This one could also do analogy, because the thing is, like, so I may actually need to go through all of my The thing is, this is much more of a regular pattern. If I go look at some other verbs, this is to, but it is also having this issue where everywhere else is fufye, right? Fufye. And then here we have fufye. The one thing I would say is in this case, here this is not as big a thing. We have the khap. If we still went with the khap, so it's still khapye, khapye, khapye versus khapye. Yeah, so this makes the only distinction here tone when we do that analogical leveling. But that is not, it's not a huge deal. Khapye versus khapye. Khapye is pretty distinct, especially if you think of the lengthening khapye. Khapye, khapye versus khapye. It's still pretty distinct. I think it's fine. In this case, fufye versus fufye. Fufye versus fufye versus, and then fufye versus fufye. That one I'm not so sure. The thing is, we do have this alternation in other places. This particular, where did that occur? I'm trying to think. Blue. Yeah. To see also has this. To see has that in a different place though. To see has that in the decomposer, and also probably in different places in the plural. So this is making me think that I need to go through all of my verbs in dawn. Possibly go through all of my verbs in dusk and decide whether analogical leveling is going to adjust. But I think for this one in particular, because it was specifically between U and A, I think I'm going to level this one, at least for now. That's my thought. That does mean, yeah. Now this is not in the name of the language for this one either. Or is it? No, this is in the name of the language for this one, though. So that could have a preservative effect by building it in. Okay, so put a question mark here, because I can always restore that. Let's get these dusk forms documented, and then we'll come back to that and see what we're going to do with that. Go to dusk and do I have stem alternations for these in dusk? What just happened? What just happened here? What did I just do? Okay. Let's go. Let's just go. Let's go to the export and get rid of this, and then we can do it that way. Just directly into the sheet. Just paste this directly into the sheet. That's much better. Okay. Fish. Okay. So we do have a stem alternation in dusk happening. Can you put it where I clicked? I don't know why I didn't have the class 6 on there. Fish. Fish versus foof. So this also has a stem alternation. Okay, so we've got exactly the same issue. Okay, here we go. Okay, so so what I want to do is, like, let's see. Fifi. Okay. Now I have an idea. Okay, so here's the thing. This is a very I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to change that back. And let me explain why. Okay. So I am actually going to change that back, because what I am discovering here, I'm going to have to go through and clean up a bunch of stuff because I did not realize I didn't have this label here. I probably will go through and change the format of all the tables anyway, because I don't like this, the singular and plural being like this. Hello, Kat. How you doing? You came in near the end. I almost am ready to put these names together. I was just debating about whether to level this, but this is going to be part of the name of this language. And now, So here's what I'm going to say. This is actually a regular alternation between U and Y. So I think I will keep this alternation between U and Y in both languages with Phyś. However, let's see if we get this alternation in dusk. It's the regular irregularity, right? Let me see what happens. What happens to? I need to have things more integrated so that I'm not like flipping between programs. Hap. But this one, here we go. I have the solution. So normally this would be the stem, right? And let's go and do our this did not happen. And it should be, but I'm going to change this to crap. And actually, no, it's not that. So it should be, how do I get the, I'll just copy paste it from here. So what I'm going to do is I mean, I have cat. Long time ago, I took there we go. This is the one that leveled. There. I have no idea what you mean by that. I took a basic economics class and then I took a political economy class. I don't know anything about classical theory of distribution, neoclassical theory of distribution. At least I don't know it by that name. It won't be hap. It would be hap. Hap. Oh, goodness. Wow. Okay. Hap. Which is not. Yeah. That's weird. You even lose the labialization. Okay, that's really cool, actually. So this is actually going to be like frozen. It's just another hobby you have. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. In undergrad, one of my majors was international studies, and I had to take economics and a political economy class for that. So this became hap. Hap instead of hip, because every other form is hap. That doesn't always happen, but it can happen. So now we have the issue of how do we put all of these together? And let's go. Why am I in this part? Let's go to our notes. So we want fish, and then the waxing or the waning or withering in dawn is Khyisfafmě, 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 Khyisfafmě. I don't know if I'm doing that. It's kind of, it's weirdly difficult for me to do adjectives in an unstressed syllable. That's not what I want. I want copy. At some point I need to get rid of so what we want to do is we actually want to take the roots. This is already a root. And then we want to so I think what we want to do is we want to take the middle Fey roots and do this from middle Fey and apply all our sound changes so that we can... Everything takes 2 clicks for some reason. And then we can have it. So let's actually go back to middle Fey. Go back to middle Fey. What am I my brain is not sending me to the right places. So we want just the root. So what we want is we want to get let's we want to get so which one? So we want this root hoppe in here, and then we want let's see, let's go into middle Fey or middle. I don't know. Should I rename that to middle Fey or not? Nupa. Let's Nupa. Let's take out these. Being and fee is grass. What was the what? Wait, what is the foofy? Foofy and X and E long. Hopping pas Khyisfafຝ. Khyisfaf<hesitation>. Let's do I have the right thing? No. Hold on. Okay, let me get back there. This is that's growing. That should be in here. That should be in dusk. That should be the dusk form. Okay. Let's right. Oh, I know. I'm so dumb about that. Okay, so let's what was the what did I have wrong? What did I have wrong? So let me I am almost done. I just want to oh, what am I doing? Okay. That's not what I want. Okay. Let's put this here and we'll get that sorted out. Hold on. I promise this is gonna be cool. Okay. We want quicker. There we go. And then we want this. And I know these names are very long. We will fix that at some point. I don't want to bother with the Khyisfafዏ. That's actually a little bit more reasonable. So this is so this okay. I see what's happening is we're getting this this action here where this got deleted. KhyisfafÀ. Okay. And this one, we want to have that, we want to take that, and we want the, yeah, there would be the same sequence except we substitute the fufi, and we get sounds like Klingon. Okay. So what I'm going to do is the thing that I'm going to do is that we're going to do a reduction and like an abbreviation, since these are super, super long. And what will happen is the internal moon root, right? That is going to go away because it's kind of redundant. So the wufa, it came from wufa, right? But due to all kinds of phonological rules applying, this is what we got. So why is that A going with it? What are you doing, Word? Yeah. So we end up with KhyisfafÀ. KhyisfafÀ. I think keeping it to 3 syllables is good. It's 3 syllables. KhyisfafÀ. And Trika and KhyisfafÀ. 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 Okay, there we go. Those are our words for the dawn. These are our names for the dawn and dusk dialects. And I will figure out day and night at another time, because I am at time and I really don't need them as badly, really. I actually have some world building ideas that might make them have different names or go away. But thank you all for watching. It seems like everybody arrived right at the end. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. I promised to take my girls out to a shop. But everyone, happy conlaying.